Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're here with Shadowfax again, who's giving the camera kisses. And what we're doing today is we're going to talk about ulcers. Because ulcers are a really big deal and you do need a vet to help you treat them. They don't heal on their own. Okay? Ulcers are distressingly common in mini horses. Partly it's because of stress, because a lot of times mini horses are kept in very small areas and they don't get enough exercise, or they're stalled for no real good reason, things like that. So there are problems with mini horses that are not properly exercised and properly cared for. They do tend to get ulcers. There are many, many different causes though, okay? You can look after your mini horse perfectly and still end up with an ulcer. It happens. Some of the symptoms might include if they're underweight, if they have a really poor coat quality, if they're not eating their grain or their pellets, they're only eating their hay, if they're tending to lie down when they're eating, that's not good. If they're having frequent but really kind of minor colic, so they're getting colic, but it's not super severe, it's just kind of annoying, but it's happening a lot over and over again, that might be a sign. If they have sudden and unusual behavioral issues, so something they haven't done before, maybe their stomach hurts. If their stomach's hurting, an ulcer is a really good possibility. If you suspect an ulcer, you need to call the vet. The vet can diagnose with a gastroscope. Okay, this is basically where the camera is passed into the stomach and the vet can kind of examine the stomach lining and find the ulcer. This is the only surefire way to look for the lesions in the belly and be absolutely 100% sure that that horse has an ulcer. However, because mini horses are fairly small and because they require a lower dose of most medications, sometimes a vet will go, you know what, let's prescribe GastroGuard for a little bit and see if the symptoms resolve. Because if the symptoms resolve, then it's entirely possible that they had an ulcer and you fixed it and you could go without doing the gastroscope. You don't have to use it. You don't have to pass the camera because it can be a little bit traumatizing, the gastroscope, not going to lie. Think about it. It's not fun. But it does give you the ability to see those lesions. But because a mini horse is smaller and they require less GastroGuard than a full-size horse, so it'll cost you less anyway, it might be worth giving the GastroGuard and seeing if those symptoms do resolve. If they resolve, then it was probably an ulcer and you might have fixed it. Now let's assume your horse had an ulcer, you fixed it, and now you think they're fine. Well, they are, but after the ulcer is healed, you still have to take care to make sure you don't get another ulcer in your poor pony. Because ulcers, once you've had them, you're more prone to them later. So it's kind of important to keep an eye on it and try to reduce recurrence. So to do that, try reducing the amount of stress your horse is under. Increase their forage, okay, so their roughage. Make sure they're getting more of that. Maybe pull back on the grain and the supplements a little bit and offer more forage. You want them eating more hay, less grain. There goes chicken. So try that. You also want to switch to like slow feed nets and feeders. By the way, that net is empty because there's feed in the barn. It's going to get really cold tonight. We've filled the barn bag. That's why that one's empty. But, so you might want to switch to slow feeders, hay nets, something like that. Okay, you might want to do that because that could really help. More time outside, more exercise. This is one of the reasons we do not stall our mini horses. We will not stall him for extended periods of time because it's not a good idea. Okay, it leaves them more prone to ulcers. You want them to get out, you want them to exercise, you want them to move their little butts. Okay? You don't want to leave them locked in a stall. Stalling does make it more likely that your horse is going to develop an ulcer. So get that pony outside. He needs to be outside. It's healthier for him. He will be a lot happier if he can be outside and not get ulcers, because ulcers suck. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.